Sucker punch somebody on a sidewalk, carjacking old lady at a red light, pull a gun on the owner of a liquor store. You think it's cool, act a fool if you like, cuss out a cop, spit in his face, stomp on the flag and light it up. Yeah, you think you're tough.
Hey YouTube, this is Uncle Momo's music reaction channel where I provide my views on talented artists from around the world, both established artists and non-established artists. And I promise you that you won't be disappointed whatsoever. So why don't you come and join me in discovering amazing, talented artists and bringing it to the forefront of my channel for us to view. Now, my next reaction of today, we are going over to America and I am doing a reverse. Now, as you know, I've checked out Chris Anthony and obviously his channel's Oliver Anthony, and thank you for letting me know about the channel and what it represents. It's named after his granddad. So thank you very much for informing me about that and so many other things as well. And welcome to my new subscribers on the back of reacting to Chris Anthony. Just about to say Oliver Anthony. So look, I've heard some things and I'm doing a reverse. And it's about a gentleman by the name of, Jason Aldean. And this particular song, Tried That in a Small Town, has raised so much questions, and I don't know. I don't know the full ins and out, but I know it's got something to do with Whoopi Goldberg. And she has done a rant and rave regarding this particular song. And so I'm going to dive into it and find out exactly what she's ranting and raving about. I know it's something to do with the Black Lives Matter. And I already spoke about that, so I'm not going to even divulge myself into that conversation again. It was long-winded. It really was. And I hope you guys got the gist of what I said about that. And I believe it's backfired on her, where now Jason Aldean is considering suing her for roughly about 15 million. So she must have said something really, really like, wow. Now, I will locate that, what Whoopi Goldberg was ranting and raving about, but I'm not going to react to it. I just want to see it for my own personal preference. So, but first of all, I want to watch this first, then look at what Whoopi Goldberg is talking about and see what, like, you know, for me, a song's a song. Every person in this whole entire planet deserves to speak. And in America, you know, it's an amendment where it's the freedom of speech. So you have the freedom to say what you want to say. Regardless of what the outcome may be, you certainly have the freedom to say what you want to say. So I'm basing it upon that. And maybe with all this kind of, you know, the response of the back of this, and which I haven't really checked out, maybe it's what's the word? There's an English saying: "Don't make out of a mountain, a manhole out of a mountain, a molehill out of a mountain." So maybe this is a molehill rather than a mountain. I don't know until I press the play button. So look, let's do this, shall we? Without further ado, you know what we're here for. Great vocabs and a damn good video audio music. Can you dig it? The song itself sounds familiar. Okay, let's see what's happening.
Sucker punch somebody on a sidewalk, carjacking old lady at a red light, pull a gun on the owner of a liquor store. You think it's cool, act a fool if you like, cuss out a cop, spit in his face, stomp on the flag and light it up. Yeah, you think you're tough. Well, try that in a small town, see how far you make it down the road. Around here we take care of our own. You cross that line, it won't take long for you to find.
All right, so far 56 minutes in, just under a minute on a song that's about 3 minutes, and so far I haven't seen anything that's will pee off Whoopi Goldberg. There you go. I've just managed to say it out my mouth. I get it. So what I'm getting is this. Every town in America has a point of reference. And that point of reference, you know, when you just start a new town, the first building, what's the first building that you make? Yeah, it's a church. That's your point of reference in any small town or any town. The first thing to be assembled is your church. And in that church, you have your point of mannerisms, you know, the way how you conduct yourself. And it's through the eyes of the Lord, as you know, in the church. And it tells you the right things in the way, you know, it's the way of life and the things you do and you don't do. And in a small town, you take that really, really seriously, because in that small town, everybody is going to church on that Sunday. That town is literally a ghost town on a Sunday. And as you growing up, you still have that strong point of reference and as a standard of good living. The things that you welcome into your heart and the things that you don't welcome into your heart. And once you solidify that in your town, you look on the outside of your town and you see what's going on. And I feel that the town is seeing ahead of a lot of things that's going on in the city, that you say, well, you know what, if that comes into my town, oh, hell no. And there is loads of subject matters that's happening in the city that will never work in a town. It won't be let into the town because of their rule of thumb, their point of reference, the church, what they've learned from church, what their way of life is. You know, that's a community based upon that church, that point of reference. I'm not saying that everybody goes to church, but there is that point of reference. And it almost comes into a standard way of life. So I get that you tried it in a small town. And there is so many things, subject matters that's happening in the city that is forced upon the city that, nah, that's not gonna happen. You know? And I can say so many things that's happening in the city, especially over in America, that you say, no, that's not gonna happen in my house, let alone my town. So I get that so far. And, you know, burning the flag, doing these marches, smashing up the windows and all that kind of stuff. Can you imagine trying to burn the American flag in a small town? Whee! Well, you can get away with it just about in a city, but no, you're not going to get away with it in a small town. You will not get away with it in a small town. It's as simple as that. And you've got to understand, for me, from what I am understanding as well, that in the small towns, yeah, where you've got the very much patriotic person, 9 times out of 10, those people, those young boys would join the army, because that's how strong their faith is and their belief and love for their country, to protect the country at no matter what cost. And those people, you don't hardly get those people from the city. It's normally the small towns where you've got enough time to think, enough time to breathe, and you know, to think about things in the direction of life, in the way of, you know, going that way or whatever. And I said 9 times out of 10, those guys will join the army, protecting their country. So where does that strong faith comes from? It's small towns of church. They believe in something really, really strong. And you can't waver that thought. So that's what I think that's where it's going, the direction of that. Especially with, like, you know, for instance, the alphabet people. And I call it alphabet people because I know, you know, L, G, Q, and it's something like that, and the he and she, you know, all that kind of thing. And like I said, everybody has the right to freedom of speech. So you have every right to talk about that and every right to say how you feel and everything else that comes with that. But I put it underneath the alphabet. I say the alphabet people because I believe that there is yet more letters to put onto the end of that. No disrespect. And if you find that it's disrespectful, then I apologize for that. But it's just my way of, like, I haven't dived into it enough to understand it or to know about it, let alone knowing the correct title of saying it. But, you know, that wouldn't work in a small town. You know, and I'm sure that you guys can create a list about that. I am blabbering way too long, but it is a massive subject matter. I'm going to go back just a little bit, but I get it. Many people won't.
When you cross that line, it won't take long for you to find out. I recommend you don't try that in a small town.
To be fair, I haven't seen a black person yet.
Got a gun that my granddad gave me. They say one day they're gonna round up. Well, that shit might fly in the city. Good luck, try that in a small town. See how far you make it down the road. Around here we take care of our own. You cross that line, it won't take long for you to find out. I recommend you don't try that in a small town full of good old boys raised up right. If you're looking for a fight, try that in a small town.
But yeah, you cannot do that in a small town.
Try that in a small town. See how far you make it down the road. Round here we take care of our own. You cross that line, it won't take long for you to find out. I recommend you don't
See the
try
gun
that
army?
in a small town. Try that in a small town. Try that in a small town.
The guitar riff sounds so familiar. Lovely. So that was Jason Aldean. Now, tried it in a small town. Now, I'm trying to figure out what the controversy is with this song. I think that you see a title, you hear a song, there's a lyrical content underneath here, and I might say a little bit of it. But on the visuals, I was like, okay, Whoopi Goldberg was trying to connect this with, him being racist or some sort. Unless there is another music video, let me see about it. But I was looking for anything that would prevent a downscale or of some sort towards black people. I didn't see it. I was looking at the people, the writers. I saw white people. I saw people getting robbed in the liquor store. Yes, there was masks. I did see a couple of black people in there, but if as a whole, I would say that 80% of the people that was in the music video that he was showing were white. Correct me if I'm wrong. If there is another music video, then let me know about it. The lyrical content: sucker punch somebody on the sidewalk. Okay. Carjacking an old lady at a red light. Now, carjacking in America, is that a black thing? I don't know. I thought that carjacking is a carjacking thing, regardless of what color you are. It's a carjacking. Pull a gun on the owner of a liquor store. Okay, right. Well, there's many people in different states that, with an array of different kind of colors, that do that. Okay. If you think that's cool, or act a fool if you like, cause cussing out a cop, spitting in his face. Well, once again, there's loads of people that argue at police. Incidentally, if you argue too much, you know what happens on that one. You think you're tough. Well, there's a lot of people that think they're tough. See how far you make it down the road. Okay, round here, we take of our own. And like I said, it's a community thing. So everybody knows everybody, and it's almost like in a town, because it's a community thing and you all know each other, like the policeman went to the same school as the person that, that's drunk on the road or whatever. And it's a community thing. It's not a case of picking up and quickly putting into a jail. It's about talking to you, say, look, man, we've been to school together. What's going on? So it's a close community, a close net community. So I get that from a small town. Got a gun that my granddad gave me. Okay. They say one day it's going to round up. I'll take it that he means is that one day he will have to use it. But he hasn't used it yet. Get it? I said, see how far you make it down your own road. Okay. Full of good old boys raised up right. like I said, once again, small town, it's small community. You're raised up from the church and you spread out from there. And so you've got this simple train of thought. You haven't got the mind of a city, a person. Yeah, the towns and the scenery and the location is, for me, is so tranquil that you have time to think about certain aspects which, as a city person, you wouldn't. Yeah, it says cross that line and it won't take long. So in the lyrical kind of contents, I understand that. So I can't see the racism. I really can't. Unless there's something that's hidden under where you're thinking, there's so much happening in the history terms of America, left, right, and center. So could it be sort of like a touchy subject when you say a certain title? Is the word "tried that in a small town" something like, a particular group of people would say, which under a different kind of circumstances, which you kind of connect it, say, well, you only target that at a particular type of people. Is it like that? I don't know. I'm just making up things now because I'm trying to think what is the connection of why Whoopi Goldberg is kicking off like that. And I will watch it and find out. And then I'll have that conversation in the community page or in the comments field regarding this. But for me, it's a subject matter that will raise a lot of questions in the smaller towns, which I'm sure people would agree on that. But it's a city people that may not see this, will may be blind with that and will come up with their own kind of, I don't know, they'll come up with their own idea regarding this and stick so many things to it, and it can be far-fetched out of this. But for me personally, I don't think Jason Aldean should be targeted for this song, which represents so many things for simple people with small voices. I may look at it again. If there's another visuals, I just don't get it. Where is the racism? Where is it? I can't see it. So I'm now going to go to Whoopi Goldberg and see what she's talking about and what affected her so much that warrants Jason to sue her for 15 million. I don't know. Can you imagine me saying, try that in a city? Try that in a big city. I don't know. I don't know. I'm confused right now. Like I said, the visuals, I counted about 6, 7 black people. I will honestly say that, just under 90% of the visuals were white people. So where's the racism? Let me know your thoughts. Am I missing something? Seriously. Until next time, I salute you. Boom.
Try that in a small town.